Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, May 19th, 2016. I'm Keith Tebow. On this week's show, we're joined by Fall River Mayor Jaysil Correa as he gives us an update on his trash privatization plan. We also look at a new community garden that's being built in Fall River. And we also look back at what has been a very successful spring job fair. But first, let's join Will Richmond, the digital city editor for the Herald News, who joins us each and every week to talk about the news headlines of the week. Hey, Will, how are you?
I'm good, Keith. How you doing?
Good. Let's talk a little bit first about that job fair. It was held yesterday. It was co-sponsored by the Fall River Career Center and the City of Fall River and Mayor Jaysil Correa. Good turnout, nearly 80 vendors who have current jobs for Fall River area residents. But what was of note, and you noticed, made a note of that in the paper, was the absence of Amazon and Market Basket, two large employee opportunities coming up. And I thought earlier, before the spring job fair, that there was an opportunity for Amazon to be available, but obviously that's not the case. Were there a number of people that your people spoke to there who were looking for Amazon and Market Basket yesterday?
I think there was probably some that were hopeful for the opportunity to, whether it was submit applications or, arrange for interviews or whatnot. Obviously, those are the two high-profile businesses that are coming to the area this year and would have many job opportunities to come with them, as has been promoted as the development of these projects have moved forward. So I think people were looking for that opportunity, but while they may not have found them, they did find the other 80-plus employers seeking employees, and probably should have gone home at least with some prospects, I imagine.
Right, and that is obviously the greater takeaway from the event yesterday, was that there are a number of Fall River-based organizations that do have positions that need to be filled right now, and that was the opportunity yesterday. So that's good news in terms of job prospects overall for the city of Fall River. And both Amazon and Market Basket will be having opportunities on their own coming up very soon. So people who are seeking applications will be able to do so at a later date, correct?
Yeah, at least in the case of Amazon, it looks like they're going with a mostly online process for the warehouse jobs. They are taking submittals currently for more of the management type positions that they'll have over there. But they've said so far warehouse jobs will be an online process, though there is a list you can sign up for to receive notification through the Career Center for when that process will begin.
And please stay tuned to FRC Media News. On this broadcast, we'll have more information from yesterday's job fair. Switching gears, Will, the Herald News has a story today concerning a fire from a couple of weeks ago, a fatal fire on Covell Street, and the cause of that fire looks like it was determined.
Yeah, the State Fire Marshal's office today announced that smoking materials are to blame for the fire. It appears Emile Saucier, the resident who had died in that fire, was known to roll his own cigarettes, and there were materials found in a recliner in his kitchen in the third floor apartment there. So it looks like there may have been a situation where some of this material smoldered in that chair for quite some time, and then finally went up into serious flames early that morning.
And I know when it comes to fires in any community, a lot of times the sexy story is always whether there's arson involved in fires, but many times it's these types of incidents, either someone leaving a cigarette unattended or something on the stove that they're cooking unattended, and these tend to be more of a serious issue that we really don't see much publicity about. And I know that the county is looking in that as well, right? District Attorney and also State Fire Marshals.
Yeah, in the release announcing the cause today, the fire marshal noted that I believe this was the 9th fatality from a fire due to smoking materials at the second in Fall River, and there was another one this month in another part of the state in which 2 people died. So 9 fatalities. Here we are, in the 5th month of the year. Doesn't seem like a good trend to begin the first half of 2016. And then on top of that, while they said they couldn't be certain about the condition of working smoke alarms, in this case, they've said in the other cases there were not working smoke alarms. So a deadly combination of smoking materials that aren't being disposed of properly, along with either the lack of or smoke alarms that do not work at all, have really caused for some unfortunate circumstances this year.
All right, let's shift to city government issues. The City Council Ordinance Committee this week voted to approve an ordinance which will establish the position of Director of the Department of Community Maintenance and has set the salary of that position at $98,000. That was not the case prior to Mayor Correa's splitting of that position, if you will, that Ken Pacheco had held for many years, splitting off the head of the DCM with now Ken's job in terms of handling real estate. So this is a now formal process which actually adds that position now as part of city ordinance, correct? Or will when the city council approves it.
Right. It was recommended by one of the subcommittees this week and will go to the full council next week. At this point, yes, it does. It sets that salary at $98,000, which is the amount that when Mayor Correa initially pitched the concept of splitting up the two positions, he said both would be paid at that amount. As we came to find, that the DCM job was advertised with a salary up to 110, and the initial choice for that position was going to be given that amount. Yeah. So now it's set at 98,000, which I think makes some sense, especially since the administration has yet to fully flesh out the job responsibilities for the new DCM director. So, making it level with buildings and grounds, at least kind of with the vagaries of what the job will entail, it makes a little more sense to just keep it even level.
Now, is the job still being posted? Is the city still looking to fill this position based on, unfortunately, what had happened with a previous attempted to hire the individual from Maynard, Mass?
Yeah, they have decided to go and re-advertise the position. I believe two of the applicants that had previously interviewed were re-interviewed, but then after that point, the search committee decided it would be in the best interest of the city to re-advertise the position and start all over.
All right. Let's wrap up our news headlines of the week with a story that is actually a photo, not necessarily a story. There's a story behind the photo, but a photo that has made its rounds on social media of a Massachusetts state trooper from the Dartmouth Barracks. His name is Luke Bonin, and he was just in the area of Duval and President Avenue, where he saw a homeless woman who happened to be just in that area, and he actually drove by the woman, went to a local food establishment, bought 2 lunches, and actually shared some time with this homeless woman, not to tell her to move on or to find some help, but just to socialize with the woman and get some information about her circumstances. And that photo has just taken off on social media in this area.
Yeah, it certainly is a good example of the power of social media. The photo was taken by a passerby who posted it to one of the groups on Facebook, and it started to grow from there, and it landed in the hands of the state police, which just sort of put it out themselves to kind of say, hey, here's an example of what our state troopers do beyond sort of the typical Call of Duty most people associate their jobs with. And it's a nice story of, he noticed a woman. The woman was holding a sign that really just displayed the unfortunate situation she was in. She was just looking for any help she could get, and looks like she got some. And fortunately, someone caught the picture of it, and that may help out even a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, and the photo's on the screen right now. So a great feel-good story, and a good story about someone in public service who just lending a hand to someone in need. So that's always good to see. All right, Will, what's coming up at the Herald over the next few days?
Well, this Sunday, we've got our annual Best and Brightest Awards ceremony coming up in early June. But this Sunday, we're taking a look back at some of the past recipients, seeing what kind of advice they have for high school students who are about to graduate, and to kind of tell the stories a little bit about the success stories of people from Fall River and the surrounding communities.
Sounds good. All right, Will, we'll talk to you next week.
All right, have a good weekend, Keith.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some positions on the newest hot job list for the week of May 16th through May 22nd. Day Support Professional, job number 733-4415. Senior Research Associate, job number 733-0108. Dialysis Patient Care Technician, job number 730-9397. Fashion Associate, job number 731-4847. Warehouse Assistant, job number 733-0486. Home Health Physical Therapist, job number 733-0297. For more information, visit frcmedianews.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Fall River Mayor Jazio Correa paid a visit to our FRC Media studios earlier this week and talked about a myriad of issues that's currently on his plate. Among them, his plan to privatize Fall River's trash pickup.
Were there any issues legally with making that decision?
No, absolutely no legal issues. The city charter allows the mayor to execute contracts, and because this particular contract is a trash contract under municipal law and under state law, it is exempt from Chapter 30B, which means it doesn't have to be bid. We did accept 4 bids, and we looked at them, and we were able to negotiate the best price with our new waste hauler, Easy Disposal, at $3.3 million, which is a savings to the city over 10 years. It's at least $9 million, and there's a lot of hidden costs that we know exist, but we don't know the true savings yet. Over the 10 years, you'll know them.
Mayor Correa also pointed out that the non-compliance issues in terms of using the purple bags have, under his administration, now been solved.
I think those have all been corrected, and we've instilled the help of Waste Zero, who's been helping us with the compliance numbers. I don't want to release them yet. We do have the newest compliance numbers for week 1 and week 2. We will have them for week 3, and then week 4 is when we decide to take over fully without Waste Zero's help anymore. That is when we will release them. I understand that
you don't want to release but since I have you
They're
here.
extremely positive.
That's what I was going to say.
Extremely positive, like almost incredibly positive. And they're real numbers. These are coming direct from Waste Zero, and this is actual revenue that we're basing it on. And we had a huge increase in the amount of revenue. So we still put in next year's budget, the purple bags. We underestimated and used conservative numbers of what we believe we're going to achieve through the sales of the bags. And that's really helping us, and you, the residents, it's helping us pay for the trash that you create, which we all create trash. There's no question about it. We all create recycling. And we have to transfer that to a landfill at some point. Or a waste energy facility, and we're going to be looking at those options. We have a contract right now with BFI Republic Waste, and that's where we have to bring our trash at $65 a ton. That's a cost of the taxpayers. When that contract is done, and that's 2 to 3 more years, there might be some early ways to get out of that we're exploring. We're looking at a lot of different options. One of the prime options is what you all voted for, was our own transfer station or a waste energy facility, and we're looking at partnering with some private companies to do that, a public-private partnership, because that's a huge cost to the city, as well as some expertise that we don't have. So we need to bring in some people that do have that expertise. So we are making that happen, and we're trying to make that decision within the next year, because then you have some construction time. We estimate the construction time there would be about 1.5 to 2 years to get the facility up and running. There's a lot of permitting that you have to do with EPA to open up a transfer station, and we're working very hard on that, and that's going to ultimately deliver savings to the residents and give us the destiny of where we bring our trash.
Our entire conversation with Mayor Correa will be available on FRC TV in the coming days. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
This is Dozer. He's 7.5 years young. And really he acts very much younger than he does. You could subtract half of his age and that would be about accurate. He hasn't been here terribly long, but hasn't received a heck of a lot of interest, which is a little vexing to me, given how sweet he is.
This is Bernie. He came from a neglect case. He had a burn on his neck, and that's why we call him Bernie. And he's about 1 year old, and he's very playful, and he hasn't been jaded by his experience whatsoever. But he's a kitten at heart, and that's what he wants to do, is play and play and play.
Fall River residents will soon have access to the city's first community garden. Our Donna Mata has more.
The Greater Recreation and the Bank Street Neighborhood Association are working collaboratively on their newly acquired property to establish the North 7th Street Community Garden. Scores of volunteers turned out this week to clear the land and get the beds that will be used for planting a variety of vegetables and flowers ready for use. At a news conference May 19th, Bank Street Neighborhood Association President Natalie Mello thanked the agencies and individuals who helped move the project along and announced that so much has already been done to prepare the land for the community garden.
We had DPW come in and kind of put stones around so people wouldn't park, so it wouldn't damage the grass. That happened, but everybody was respectful and took good care of the property. They didn't damage or do anything. I've reached out to Carol Viola. I've reached out to Senator Michael Rodriguez. I've reached out to everybody. Everybody's been behind us 110%. We have Father Kelly neighborhood on board with us. We have Niagara neighborhood on board with us. It's just, I'm going to cry. I just can't believe how much we got. I'm so appreciated by Lowe's for you to come out. This is like Christmas for us in this neighborhood. I apologize. I'm going to turn it over to Carol, state representative, who made this happen along with Lowe's. So I can't talk anymore. Carol?
Natalie, I know this is a dream come true for you and your neighborhood association and the neighborhood associations that worked with you. And this is a perfect example for the community to look at all of the agencies, both governmental and volunteer and private corporations that have come together because of a vision that you had. And throughout this community, I will often hear people say, you know, when I show up at an event, they should do this and they should do that. And I hear that quite often. And I in turn turn around and go, they are you and they are me and they are everybody. There's no magic bullet of how this has come to be. This was hard work, a vision, and positive outreach.
Mello also told FRC Media News the community garden idea is not something new. The idea was proposed a few years ago when it was decided that the deteriorated building that was on that property and was known as a drug hangout was to be demolished.
So this was designated for a community garden to help out people that needed, and even people if they wanted to grow their own stuff. You know, they come and get a bed and they grow their own stuff, then they maintain their stuff. Just like Salvation Army will be maintaining their stuff. We have Sacred Heart Soup Kitchen that's also going to plant we're going to give this stuff to them, their vegetables, whatever else. And we also want to do flowers. Flowers is pretty. And we're also thinking of having a classroom where there'll be some nurses that come and talk about diabetes and how to eat healthy. We're trying to focus health, you know, how to eat properly. I'm not sure if I'm saying the exact words, the proper words, I should say. But that's our goal. Educate, responsibility, and eating healthy, you know. Community, reaching out to everybody. And we're on all ends of the city. Like we have South End. We're at the beginning of the North End. We like to have everybody get involved. And hopefully, like Rosemary said, this is just the beginning. Hopefully this will be a good start throughout the rest of the city.
FRC Media also met up with Vice President of the Niagara Neighborhood Association, Helen Rigo. What do you think about the community garden?
I think this is going to be great for the city. This is what you need, the neighborhoods need to get the people together. You know, I think we're going to have security. We've got lights. We have the Vice President next door with the security lights, and have locks on the gates. I think it'll work out.
The overall plan is to get the seeds planted in time for this summer season. For FRC Media News, I'm Donna Mata, who worked on this story with videographer Michelle Dumas.
As we mentioned earlier in the show, the City of Fall River and the Fall River Career Center sponsored its second annual Spring Job Fair, where the number of applicants was up over a year ago. Here's Donna Mata.
I'm at Government Center, and I'm talking to Joe Vienna, who is the director of the Fall River Career Center, which is a co-sponsor of this semi-annual event. Joe, I've been covering this for a long time. There are a lot of people here. What's your feel?
The feeling has been extremely positive from the job seekers here, as well as from the employers. What I've gotten so far is that they feel people are prepared. They're looking for work. They're very ambitious, and it's a good competition out there. And from the perspective of the job seekers, a lot of them are from the Career Center, and they've attended a lot of our workshops. They've attended a lot of the things that we do to prepare people for employment. So I'm very happy personally to see a great turnout from the Career Center staff and folks that are here. The general public is here as well, and they're looking for any opportunities. So I think it's a tremendous thing. And we've done these a number of times. This one is going very, very well, very smooth, and certainly very, very, I think, opportunistic. I think people want to do something about a better employment or a new employment.
Absolutely. There's no question. 2 years ago, I believe you had approximately 60 companies. Last year, if I remember correctly, it was 70. Now you're up to 87 companies.
87 companies? Well, 86 is what I knew, so one snuck in there, but that's okay. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. We welcome everyone that has a job, and that's the key thing. These companies have employment opportunities. We're very, very much in tune with that. So, and we encourage folks to come to the Career Center. We do this twice a year, but we really do our job every week, every day, 8:30 to 5. Monday through Friday. Anyone that's looking for employment certainly can come down to the Career Center. Any employer that's looking to hire should contact us and try to access our database.
That's right. Okay.
And I thank you very much for the opportunity to inform the community always.
The next scheduled job fair is set for later on this fall. At Bristol Community College, a recognition breakfast was held earlier this week to honor those students who took part in co-op and civic engagement opportunities. Among them, BCC student Amy Blanchette.
So many wonderful experiences in my service learning classes. It also helped that I had great professors, like Professor Warren sitting over there, who I know probably doesn't want me to mention her name, but she was great. I did 2 service learning courses with her. In the fall, I did, for her U.S. government class, we did the Fall River Charter Revision Committee, and we worked to organize a forum here on campus where students, staff, faculty, and community members could come and learn about the charter revision and how it was going up on the ballot in November, and we needed to inform all the citizens of Fall River that they needed to vote on it because it was important. The charter had been revised in a little over 80 years, so it needed to be done. It was a lot of work to organize it, but the class all worked together with me. And we did this forum, and it was very well attended. It was aired over the next 2 weeks on the cable television network, and we actually ended up, I mean, it wasn't just us, but the charter did pass. So it was amazing to organize the forum, but also see it get passed in a government class firsthand, where we got that experience and were able to know that we were part of something that big. It was really amazing. In my state and local government class, we actually went to the State House March 7th for Public Higher Education Advocacy Day, and we advocated for higher education. We met with some of our state representatives. Carol Fiola, she was one of them, and Pete Daly, you were great too. And we addressed our concerns with them, and they heard us, and it was amazing. Carol actually was at another conference and ran over to meet with us, so it was really nice. It was appreciated, and Senator Rodericks was also there. I don't think I see him here today, but it was amazing to go to the State House. Some of us had never even been there before, so what a perfect fit in a state and local government class to actually go out and experience firsthand the State House and advocating for higher education. We're all college students, so we were advocating for ourselves, for our education. So that was an amazing thing to be a part of.
That's all for FRC Media News for this week. You can catch FRC Media News Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. But you can visit our website 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.